Hello my gorgeous makeup loving friends, I hope you're having a fantastic day and a great start to your weekend. This is our weekly releases and rants, so where we hang out and talk about the newest releases in terms of makeup, beauty, skincare, all that general jazz. But to do that, you guys are fantastic and tag me in content that you want me to talk about. So your names are being displayed right now. Thank you so much for reaching out across various forms of social media to help me to do this. I really appreciate it. Also a massive thank you to my YouTube community members. You know who you are, and if you don't, your names are being displayed right now. So I don't know, I guess this is like a memento moment where you discover who you are and I know who you are, and it's a whole thing. I don't know, it's a very strange reference. Anyways, we do have quite a few things to talk about because obviously it's ramping up to Christmas, and when in doubt, capitalism basically goes, hey, we want your money, give us your money, etc, etc, and so on and so forth. So my general advice is always, always, always hydrate in whatever way happens to suit you. Now, because I'm Irish and also absolutely dying of tonsillitis right now, I'm going to milk that for as long as I possibly can, which is a coincidence because I do have quite a bit of milk in my tea. Not a disgusting amount, but there you go. I have tea. Because anyways, that was really weird. Yeah, this is going to be an odd episode simply because obviously my train of thought is a little bit fragmented. But yes, do stay hydrated and make sure that you get yourself a snack. That's my best advice for this particular episode. But my gorgeous friends, let's get straight into it. The first thing I want to talk about is essentially a continuation of what I discussed last week, and it's the three-way collaboration. What a weird way to look at that. Blend Bunny, Glisten Cosmetics and Linsmakeuplooks. I didn't really get to talk about that in great depth last week because I was sheerly speculating as to what it actually was, and you know what, I wasn't far off. Basically what they had was Linsmakeuplooks had collaborated with Blend Bunny, and then Linsmakeuplooks had collaborated with Glisten Cosmetics, but there wasn't really a Blend Bunny and Glisten Cosmetics collaboration at all. It was just a really weird three-way relationship, a bit like Bella, Edward and Jacob, if you want to have a Twilight reference. And I'll be honest with you lads, I feel a bit embarrassed bringing that up. There you go. Or we could think about it as like a Buffy, Spike, Angel thing. I feel better with that particular reference. That's the one that I'm going to stick with. To be honest with you lads, it's kind of hard to figure out exactly how to talk about this. There were the two palettes. So there was the Lins and Blend Bunny palette for €44.95. Then there was the Lins and Glisten Cosmetics wet liner palette for €44.95, and you could get the two palettes together for €79.95. They were basically made so that they were magnetic, right? That's grand. But the other part of it was the Lins and Glisten Cosmetics stuff. There was the liner brush set for €24.95. There was also the peachy juicy tint for €11.95, and obviously the wet liner palette, and you could get the whole bundle together for €71.95. Now that was only available on Glisten Cosmetics. You couldn't get that over on Blend Bunny Cosmetics, so keep that in mind. And then flip over to the Lins and Blend Bunny stuff. There was the cosmetic lashes for €12.95. There was the Blend Bunny blending brush set for €24.95. And then if you wanted all of the Lins Blend Bunny stuff, you could get the set for €71.95, but again that was all exclusive to Blend Bunny. However, if you wanted the entire collection, you could get it on both sites for €147.95. Right, I'm going to start off by talking about the palettes. I want to talk about the eyeshadow palette first. I'm not going to repeat myself and say the same thing as what I did last week about like, oh, there's been so many launches. I'm not going to say that again. I'm tired of saying that. I'm bored of it. Let's talk about the actual palette itself, because I'm going to be honest here, I actually think this is one of the more interesting color stories that they've come out with in quite some time. I think it's really, really interesting. The fact that it's really, really matte heavy and then has those two shimmers, fabulous. Like Blend Bunny have been criticized for quite some time for going for the rainbow-esque sort of a color story, and this is not it. This is so far from it that I'm like, here we go. This is wonderful. They've even gone away from their specific kind of aesthetic of color curating the columns. This is so far removed from their regular thing that I'm like, okay, fantastic. This is so totally different. So you know what? I think this is done really, really well. And I don't know much about Linsmakeuplooks. I'm very, very sorry. But I do know that she uses Blend Bunny and uses Glisten Cosmetics quite a bit. So that's very smart. The other thing that I think is really, really great about this is obviously the fact that you can remove the pans. So if you like this, you can take some of the pans from this, but also put some of the pans from the Glisten Cosmetics one in, which by the way, amazing. Absolutely love that. Then it makes me kind of think a little bit of, do you remember the Cat Beauty palette, the Colour Trip one, and it had all the liners down at the bottom. Amazing. I really, really like this. I thought that was so, so smart. Then in terms of the wet liner palette, love that they gave so much for a white, like that kind of makes sense. The split pan liners obviously give you essentially 3 colours rather than 2, and I couldn't find any swatches on their website of when they had kind of swatched the colours together, but there you go. I like them. I like their liners quite a bit, but I think this is going to be such a smart little introduction for anyone who has never tried Glisten Cosmetics before. I think they'll really, really enjoy it. The price point is fabulous, like €44.95 for that many wet liners, €44.95 for those mattes and shimmers. I mean, granted it's 2 shimmers, but I mean, it's pretty darn good. And if you want to get the 2 together, that's not bad at all. This is the most kind of new thing that Blend Bunny has done in a while. Like, it's very out of their comfort zone, and I really appreciate that. I think it was actually really, really well executed. So I want to talk first about the brush sets. There's 2 brush sets. One is the Glisten Cosmetics one, and then the other one is the Blend Bunny one, and they're both €24.95 each, and both of them make sense for each of the brands. So Glisten's one is all like liner brushes, and you can see their various lengths to allow you to have more or less precision. So fabulous. I actually think that's a brilliant price for that. And then I love how the Blend Bunny brushes almost kind of match in with this, but they're paler, so you could see just by eyeballing them that they're from the same sort of collection, but not quite either. I think that's quite smart. Coming out with some blending brushes, really, really quite clever here as well, and the shapes on them look like you could get some nice sort of precise work in here as well. I have some Blend Bunny brushes so far, and I do quite like them. Other than that, the other stuff that they have are some juicy tints, and I've heard from a few people that they're really, really nice, and apparently Lynn likes this a lot. This is a new shade. It's a very like orangey shade, so if you're into that, there you go. And also the lashes, she's wearing them in that picture, and I have to say, actually seeing them on, I thought they're really, really nice. The collection overall, I actually think was done really, really well. And I don't think that you guys were expecting me to say that, but there you go. I actually do think it was done really, really well. There's a lot of this that I'm looking at and thinking, yeah, I like this. I probably wouldn't get the juicy lip tint simply because I don't really tend to wear those things that often, although I got some fabulous ones from CoverGirl not that long ago. But I mean, it makes sense for her. The lashes look fabulous. The brushes, yeah, I'd like, if they turned up at my door, I'd be very, very happy. The liner set, I personally wouldn't need because I have a lot from Glisten Cosmetics, but I really like them. I think what they could have done is maybe added in a few more like more metallic-y ones for a little bit more kind of vibrancy, a little bit more interest, but that's just me being very pernickety. I think this was very, very smart on both of their parts. By both, I mean Glisten and Blend Bunny. Lynn, I'm sure, has done very, very well out of all of this because they've, you know, obviously, hopefully earned a decent commission on this. It would be a bit weird if they didn't. But I feel like both brands have introduced each other to their respective customers, and it's just been very, very well thought out in my opinion. The only thing is obviously just the number of launches. However, when I went over to Glisten Cosmetics, I did see that quite a few things had actually sold out. The only thing that hadn't sold out actually of the palettes was the Blend Bunny one, which I thought was quite interesting in and of itself. I think overall a pretty good collaboration, but a weird way to do it, like with 3 people. Just a bit confusing, but it wasn't really a 3-way collaboration. I'd like to see, maybe I'm just being a bit pernickety here, I'd like to see more of like a specific collaboration between Glisten and Blend Bunny. Like, we kind of saw it in the sense that you can take out the pans of the palettes and kind of mix and match in that way. That was so smart. Absolutely love that. But other than that, I kind of, it does feel kind of like separated from each other, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but like it is what it is. Then we have Jason Wu Beauty. I'm going to be honest with you lads, I don't know much about Jason Wu Beauty. I see them from time to time on like Instagram, etc., but I've never bought anything from them, so I can't tell you what their quality is like. So that's right, I'm absolutely useless to you. But this is their holiday collection. It features 2 palettes. There's the Diamond Darling 01 Deja Vu for $45, and there's the Pearl Darling 01 Posh, $45, and there's also a shimmer stick in the shade 01 Cashmere, which is currently selling for $12 but is usually going to be $15. The thing that caught quite a few people's attention was the essentially embossing on the palettes, which was kind of strange. So I'm going to talk about the Diamond Darling one first. Now, there's nothing about this that makes me think of diamonds. This makes me think of the 80s, and not in a fun Paloma Diamond kind of way. If you're on that side of TikTok, you know what it is that I'm talking about. about. There's something about looking at the front of this particular palette that kind of hurts my eyes, and I don't know why. Do you know what? It reminds me of, you know when you'd have a TV screen and it'd go all grainy because it'd be like trying to patch into the network. Those of us who were from the 90s and earlier on, you'll know what it is that I'm talking about. It just looks grainy, and there's nothing about this that makes me look at that palette and then kind of go, oh, that's from this particular brand, which is a bit strange. Like normally you'd want to have good brand recognition. It just looks a little bit tacky in my opinion. And then I look at the inside of the palette and do you know what? It's not bad. It's not amazing, but it's not bad. Like it's a very, very safe, warm, neutral sort of a palette. Could I find swatches? No, because that would have actually been helpful, and I scoured all over their website, and $45, yes, it's not wildly expensive, but it's not cheap either. So maybe I'm a bit insane, but I mean, I don't want to pay $45 for something that I haven't at least seen swatched, and I could essentially kind of dupe this with a lot of stuff in my collection already. I don't know if it's that they're just hoping that the packaging is going to get people all like flustered that they're going to say, yes, I will spend $45 on this. I feel like there isn't enough depth in this. There's one deep dark brown and then the rest are kind of mid-tones. There's nothing even light enough to kind of blend out. Any of the lighter shades are all shimmers. I don't understand this one. I also don't understand the pearl one, mostly in terms of the packaging, because it reminds me a little bit of, I want to say about 4 or 5 years ago. Well, no, I'm like blacking out a certain bit because I know it was definitely during COVID, because I remember talking about it on Zoom with people at the time. And I remember that Revolution at the time came out with these like £4 palettes that had like pearls on the front of it. And this reminds me of this. But again, poor brand recognition. And it does kind of look like a child just took pearls and like glued them on with absolutely no forethought as to how this would look. It looks like, if I'm honest, quite messy. The actual palette itself, when you look in, I actually think that's quite pretty. Like the colour story is quite nice. Is it very safe? Yes, it is. It's very cool toned. It does look like it's essentially entirely matte though. So I don't know how they're justifying $45 for this and then $45 for the other one, which has more shimmers. Is it that the pearls cost them extra? I don't know. There's also like 2 shades in there that I think that are going to be very similar to each other. Actually, maybe 4 shades that are similar to each other. It's okay. I will say that there's part of me that kind of feels that this colour story is an attempt, and I say attempt, at emulating Vizzy art, but in a very like clumsy sort of a way. Which is weird because like even the recent Vizzy Art Sarah News palette, which I'm keeping an eye out, once that comes to Beauty Bay, I'm gonna get that. That's €42. These are the same price. Like, no, absolutely not. It's fine. It just feels a little bit repetitive, and the idea of the pearls, like, can you imagine some of them just falling off? And you know they will. Don't tell me that they won't. Doesn't matter how careful you are with your stuff, it'll fall off because glue does eventually just kind of start to degrade. So yeah. Anyways, in terms of the shimmer stick, could I find anyone wearing it? No, that'd be helpful. Again, like that would actually be logical on a website. So we don't want that apparently. And I can't tell what this is meant to be. There was also essentially no proper description on any of these things, which is again confusing as hell. Like even when it came to the 2 palettes, they didn't have any description of here's how many mattes there are, here's how many shimmers there are, blah 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 blah, which I was like, okay, this is really kind of sketchy, this is quite strange. But they had no information on this, so I'm guessing this might be a highlighter, but maybe it's like an eyeshadow stick type of thing. I don't know. Your guess is honestly about as good as mine. I guess we're all going to have to figure this out together. It's grand. There's nothing about this that makes me kind of go, oh, this is amazing. I mean, at least it's a fairly curated holiday collection, so it's not huge. So I'll give it that. It's fine. Would I get any of it? No, I haven't suffered some sort of a minor head injury. I will say I'm probably being a little bit fast and loose with the way that I'm feeling right now because of the illness that could take me any day now. I'm actually a lot better at the moment, but I'm still feeling a little bit crabby and annoyed with myself. It's fine. It's fine. I'd sooner buy VIVAVAMP. Do you know? I've tried VIVAVAMP, so I know what their general quality is. This is just weirdly executed. I don't understand what's going on, and I've talked about it, and that's enough. My goodness, Arttitude Cosmetics. Look, you already know I've talked about this palette. I've even used it. This is the Arttitude Cosmetics Vintage Neutrals palette, but they've also shown us some new brushes that they're coming out with. By the way, the brushes are £24.99, and she's basically designed those so that they can be used on smaller or hooded eyes, and I'm like, excuse me? I'm very interested in that because apparently the AC05 in particular is tiny. I love a tiny brush. Excuse me. To be fair, I don't need them. I know I don't need them. I know I have a lot, but still very, very cute. The handle's adorable. I got the palette in PR. Thank you very, very much, Rooks. Here's the thing. This is launching on the 28th of November at 12 GMT along with a Metamorph restock, but there's also another palette coming. And I have it. It's in the next room because I didn't want to have it in the room with me in case I got too tempted and showed it to you. I was never going to do that because I promised Rooks, and I keep a promise. I'm a good girl. But there's a lot coming because there's obviously this palette, Vintage Neutrals, there's the new palette, there's the Metamorph restock, and there's a Black Friday sale. So there's a lot happening. You guys know I am a disgusting affiliate with the brand, Trixie 10, blah, 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 whatever. You have seen, hopefully by now, my, not review of the palette because I didn't have enough time to really get a good review going, but I love that Rooks does not know what neutrals means, and I appreciate that. That's why I love her. This is such like an ode to more romantic, nostalgic times. You know, like how people go, the good old days, when things weren't actually the good old days. They just remember Audrey Hepburn movies. And I'm like, that's fair. But this is the palette here. It's absolutely gorgeous. Only Rooks could have a palette that has greens and pinks and go, yeah, that's neutral. Rooks, my love, my light. It's not, and that's fine. That's totally fine. Now, one of the things that she outlined with this is that she's put together a new matte formula, and can I just say, the matte formula is incredible. Incredible. In my video, I used 6 mattes and 2 shimmers. And those mattes, you'll see in the video, please do go have a little look. They blended themselves, and if you know me, you know that I'm lazy. I don't want to be sitting here blending for the rest of my life. It was incredible, incredible. Now, I haven't tried the other palette yet. That's on my to-do list for this weekend. And she's also revealed some swatches. Don't the swatches look absolutely stunning? Like, obviously the shimmers are the thing that make you go, oh, that's really, really nice. And trust me, I get it, but she's really focused on her matte formula this time, and the reason why it's a little bit cheaper than the Metamorph, this is retailing for £39.99, is that it's more matte heavy, but the quality of the mattes are completely different in a very, very positive way. The palette itself still has 2 multi-chromes and 1 duochrome, so very, very exciting. The swatches look stunning. I will have a swatching Sundays on this tomorrow as you're watching. I haven't filmed it yet. That's for future Teresa to sort out. Absolutely stunning, and the more that I even see it swatched out, the more I'm like, this is just beautiful. I love the mixture of the pinks and the greens, and I really did stretch myself by doing like a little bit of sunset eye when I wasn't feeling well. The way this blended, there are no words. I'm so happy about this because I've watched Arttitude from the beginning, right? I've been like a fan of them for quite some time, and just seeing the brand grow and improve with every single launch, it makes me more and more excited. And you can tell that Rooks puts everything into this. And for me as a consumer, that's so exciting to just see a brand owner stand behind her stuff and say, yeah, I want to make this as good as I possibly can. It's incredible, and I can't wait for you guys to see the next one. Like, if you didn't love this palette, that's totally fine. I get you, not everyone is going to love everything, but keep a little eye out for the other one because it's really interesting. I feel like if this isn't your vibe, you might like the other one. That's as much as I can say without like totally ruining it, because it's not my surprise to ruin. I love this, and here's the thing, if I wasn't on the PR list, I'd be grabbing this. I would. Like, the mattes alone, lads, the mattes alone, what can I compare them to? What can I compare them to? Now, I'm not saying this in terms of formula because I'm sure the formula's very, very different. Yeah, because talc is one of the first ingredients here. I was going to compare it to Natasha Denona, but that's obviously a completely different formula because Natasha Denona doesn't have any talc in it. But the blendability, the buildability, is that the word? Yeah, the buildableness, the buildability. I don't even know. Words are very hard. The way that it builds up, yeah. I'm really struggling today. There's a climate underneath my fringe. Anyways, the blendability, the buildability is all very similar to a much higher end brand. Like I'm thinking Natasha Denona, Viseart, like what other things? Like Anastasia Beverly Hills. It's that sort of a thing. And you might have noticed in my video that I started off with lighter shades first. And that was to test just how easily it blended. And you could see that it didn't muddy out. Now that will tell you kind of the quality of the matte that you're looking at there. So if you're looking for a good matte, I even said this to Rux, and I'm going to say it to you guys. If she came out with an all matte palette in the morning now, I would buy it just based on this new matte formula. I think it's fabulous. It's so good. The pigment is there, but then it builds and it blends. Yeah, I don't really have anything negative to say about it other than Rux, my love, you don't know what neutrals is, and that's fine. Some of us just don't understand what words are, and that's okay. This is a safe space. Yeah, all in all, just done so well. I need to figure out if the word is buildable or buildability or buildedness or build. I don't know. Please help. Send help. I think I might have a temperature. Yeah. And it feels relevant that I think that I'm running a bit of a temperature, and now I'm talking about something that is very like snow and ski themed. This is Trixie Cosmetics and it's the Snow Bunny release. So there's a lot in this collection. There's the Snow Bunny palette. It's an 8-pan palette for $20. The Cold Shoulder highlighter for $16. You can bundle the highlighter and the palette together for $26. They have the Haute Today High Shine lip gloss for $16. There's the Snow Bunny Stay the Night bundle. They're $40 for the 3, or you can get them singularly. They're $18 each, so there's 3 different shades. There's the Frostbite earmuffs for $20 and the Snow Bunny Shield sunglasses for $22. Okay, there's quite a bit in this. Where shall I'll start with the eyeshadow palette. That's how I usually start. This feels like I kind of get it. Like I've seen movies where people go skiing. I'm not of that ilk. I don't have the money to go skiing, and also I do not have the gross motor ability to stay standing on a surface that has evolved to leave it so that you remain standing. And I know my weaknesses in life to know that that's not where I should be going. No, not up a mountain, not into the snow. It's just foolish. It's just foolish. We don't do that sort of thing. But I can kind of see it because like the blues and the pinks are sort of like, I guess, the ski jacket type thing. But there's something about this that feels so diluted, and I don't get this. And I generally think this whenever I look at Trixie Cosmetics, because I love Trixie. I fucking love Trixie. She's the coolest. Herself and Katja, I can't deal with. Love them so much. I need them. I need them to be my friends. Although if they saw this, they'd be like, no, you're trash. Which honestly, fair. I think that about myself on a daily basis. So, you know. But I don't get it because Trixie's makeup is so bam and so pigmented. And I kind of spoke to Wilma about this before, about the preference of drag queens, because I asked this in a video and she did very kindly respond, and she said, yeah, it's all about like being pigment heavy, and the buildable blendable thing isn't as much of a thing for drag queens, which I was like, okay, understood. I get that. So, you know, daywalker makeup is going to be very, very different to a drag queen makeup. And that's why I get really confused when I look at Trixie Cosmetics, because this is makeup from a drag queen that seems to be producing makeup that is for daywalkers, and I don't get it. It just looks so lackluster. Is it expensive? No, it's not. It's not. It's extremely affordable, but it feels like it's stuck in the 2000s and not in a fun way. Like it looks sad. Like I guess it's been stuck on that mountain for quite some time. I don't know. Yeah, that one's not for me. The highlighter though, oh my goodness, right? The way that looks on the cheekbones, the frostiness, but there's also, it seems, essentially like a pinkiness to that. I love that they've shown shown this on deeper skin tones, because the worst thing is when they show this on a light skin tone and I'm like, okay, grand, fantastic, but I need to see this on a deeper skin tone so that they can determine whether or not it's going to give them like a weird ashy sort of a cast. And when I said this is stunning, that's gorgeous. Honestly, she could have come out with this, left the palette alone, come out with this and been like, this is the thing, because I like this. You know what, once this comes to Beauty Day, I would actually really consider that. I think it looks absolutely gorgeous. And then when it comes to the lip gloss, can I just say, when I saw the picture of the model, I got momentarily confused and thought, oh my god, this looks like Huda from the Icy Nude collection, because even the eye look was quite similar, and she has the white fluffy coat, and I thought, oh my god, what's happening here? Is this another brand collaboration? Trixie and Huda wouldn't have seen that happening. No, it's not, although that would be, that's a timeline that I'm not sure how that would occur, but that would be interesting to see. The lip gloss, it's fine, it's very safe. I kind of get it, but it's you know, I don't really feel like talking about it past that. The three kind of shadow topper things, they're very, very pretty. So there's Après Ski, Jackie Frost, and Nice Aspen, which took me way too long when I was putting it all together today to kind of figure out exactly what the puns were. I was going, Nice Aspen, Nice Aspen, okay. And yeah, it's a safe space, I can share that here. And when it's swatched out like that, it doesn't look amazing, but when it's on the eye, that looks really, really nice. I see that they've kind of built it up in that way, but I'd love to see it kind of sheared out and see how much of a topper these actually are. They look really, really pretty, like genuinely very, very nice. They're $18 each, I believe. You can get the bundle for $40, and I personally feel like that's actually pretty good. I quite like all of those shades. I think the one that I'd be the least interested in is probably Après Ski, just because I don't like those sort of like silvery gold. It's just not for me. And then in terms of the accessories, they're kind of cute. I never use them, but they're kind of cute. We have a weather warning in the moment, and it's like, oh, it's severe cold weather. It's like, oh my god, we've got 2 inches of snow. That's Ireland for you. We get mild weather all the time, but we never get hot weather, but we never get very, very cold weather. So it's just constantly like, okay. So I could never see myself using earmuffs. The sunglasses, I'm obviously not cool enough to pull off, but there you go. Overall, it's an okay collection. I just feel like there's so little from Trixie that necessarily calls to me, although I've bought a few little bits from them in the past and I've enjoyed what I've got because I've been smart about what I've got rather than running off and buying collections just for the sake of having collections. I'm trying to learn, lads, and I'll be honest with you, lads, I am a slow learner when it comes to these sort of lessons. I don't think that everything in this collection was necessary. I feel like maybe the highlighter and those shadow toppers were all that was necessary. I mean, I'm just saying. Beyond that, there's nothing that I'm looking at here and kind of going, yeah, must be having that. It's a fine collection. It's just, yeah, not necessarily for me. But I swear to God, like, I got tagged in this by so many people and I feel very attacked. This is Black Moon Cosmetics and this is the Cat's Meow collection, and a lot of it, by the way, has already sold out. There's the Cat's Meow palette for €40.95, the Cat's Eye Multichrome Loose Pigment for €16.95. It essentially shifts from a combination of orange to pink to yellow to lime green. There's the Perfect Hand Mirror for €27.95 and the Cat's Out of the Makeup Bag for €14.95. You can get the full bundle for €96.95. That includes the palette, the mirror, the makeup bag, the multi-chrome loose pigment, and a free handmade kitty statue, which is very, very cute. And look, lads, you guys know, if you know me well, I love cats to an unhealthy degree. I love them so much. So I'm looking at this kind of going, oh, damn you. But I'm going to try to kind of critically evaluate this, okay? Let's look at the eyeshadow palette first. Packaging, amazing. Like, look at all those little cats. They're so funny, they're so adorable. I love the packaging, and then even the embossing that they've put on the shades of like the cute little paw prints. Adorable. Let me start to actually critique it, because I'm trying to look past the packaging, because we need to not buy things for packaging, Teresa. We've made that sort of mistake before. I've also only bought one thing from Black Moon Cosmetics, and that was, and I mean years ago, it was the Urban Myth palette, and it was fine, it was pretty good, but it didn't prompt me to buy anything more from them. So unless they've changed their formula, and they probably have because it's been a long time, but it wasn't kind of enough to prompt me to go off and buy more things. Now, looking at the colour story, there's individual shades here that I actually think are really, really pretty. The shade 3 AM, I really like. I like that black with those like blue and purple sparkles. Very, very pretty. The shade Catnip, I love that kind of periwinkle blue. And that really grey toned purple of Scaredy Cat. Beautiful, beautiful. Then there's individual shades again beyond that I do quite like. Catnip, obviously like that because I like green. Biscuits, very similar to the shade Vintage from Arttitude Cosmetics' new Vintage Neutrals palette. Other than that, oh, there's a shade called Toe Beans. God damn it, don't get me through your goddamn names, how dare you. Right, let's just look at the shade. Could I put together something from this? I probably could if I tried hard enough, but it's not immediately clear to me about how to do that, and I'd have to dip into other palettes. There's nothing wrong with doing that. I actually think that's very good practice. You know, use your palettes together. But I don't really get the colour story on this. I absolutely love the way they swatched it though. Look at those stencils. Oh my god, their presentation is, I mean, 50 million out of 10. I love it. It's so cute. And look, all the little cat toys. Oh, and even the little mirror that's of a cat on it. It is adorable. But I know it's a colour story that it feels very muted, and I just wouldn't get a lot of use out of. Like, it's not quite vibrant enough for me. It'd be fine for like blending some things out. I think it's more one of those ones that I want to love but can't quite get there, which is fine. It's fine. What I do like though is that pigment. Look at that pigment, right? And by the way, see the eyes? That's the same pigment across 3 different eye looks. So it literally shifts all these different shades. Absolutely stunning. Like, I think that is gorgeous. Like, it is pricey. It's €16.95, but I mean, I've paid more for pigment in the past. I think that's actually really, really nice. Am I going to go on to them and buy a pigment? No, that's foolish. And I'm stupid. I'm the sort of person that's like, I'm not gonna go on and buy one thing, I'll go and buy 50 things. I mean, not 50 things, but like 3 or 4 things. So I'm not gonna go off and make a singular purchase, but I do think that that's actually really, really interesting. They could have done kind of more of those. That would have been quite interesting. Then the accessories. That mirror is amazing. You know how Glamlight have made a name for themselves on their mirrors? I'm going to say it right now, I think this is better than Glamlight mirrors. Maybe it's just because it's cat themed. Maybe it is, but I think that's absolutely amazing. Look at the little cat paw at the bottom. Beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. And the makeup bag. It is both amazing and also so ugly. Like, I love that mixture. Like, it's so kitschy and so like, there's something very 90s about this. Do you know, it feels like it came out of Nickelodeon's mind, and I like that. I appreciate that. Just all of these cats just having an existential crisis on a makeup bag going, what have I done? Why am I here? What is happening? I was promised tuna and now I'm on a makeup bag. What is going on? I like aspects of this, but not enough to get it, and I totally get why people were attacking me in this. But can I just say, this is personal growth, that I'm not like running off and buying this. But you know what? This is the sort of thing, if this was in a store, like if I walked into Tesco and that hand mirror was in Tesco, I probably would consider purchasing it. Which is actually a really good thing that these things aren't there, because I'd be more broke than I currently am. But yeah, let me know, did anyone get this? Because I think it's so kitschy and in the best way possible. Like, I do think it's cute. It's just the eyeshadow palette I don't vibe with. I simultaneously do but don't. You know, I like aspects of it, but I just wouldn't really know what to do with it. But overall, it's not a bad collection. Then we have What's Up Beauty, and they have their Cheeque Terre collection. And I'm trying to pronounce it phonetically as they put down, and I hope that I got that correct. And if not, I am very sorry. Basically, there's 4 shades of baked blushes and there's 4 shades of baked bronzers, each of which have a soft focus finish, and they're going to retail for $35 each. They are Italian made. made, so keep that in mind. They're launching on November the 22nd, so as you're watching, they're already available right now, you lucky little geese. So they're talc-free, clean, non-toxic, cruelty-free, vegan, and crafted with 99% natural ingredients. There's apparently niacinamide in them as well as hyaluronic acid, so there you go, quite interesting. We'll talk about maybe the blushes first. As I said, there's 4 shades. There's Peaceful Pisa, which is a baby pink with light champagne sheen. There's Serene Sienna, which is a peachy pink with light gold sheen. Relaxed Roma, a dusty rose with rose gold sheen. And Gentle Genova, which is a brick red with bronze sheen. And the amount of me that wanted to say Gentle Genovia is a whole thing. They basically said that the blush has a delicate sheen with ultra fine shimmer for a subtle glow with no chunky glitter, which is interesting. So, you know, grand. I know I've said it before, but like Italian made makeup tends to be considered to be that little bit more interesting. Would I buy this based upon what I've seen? No, simply because I don't have enough information here. They haven't swatched it, they haven't shown it on the cheeks, etc. And I've looked everywhere. Now bear in mind that I'm filming this on Thursday, the 21st of November. So they may have shown swatches, etc. or shown it on the face. I feel like there could be a few extra shades here. And I think having that marbled pan makes it a little bit confusing as to exactly what it's going to look like. I'm sure it'll look gorgeous on, you know, that sort of a formulation normally does look quite nice. Would I necessarily spend $35 on a blush? Yes and no. I have done it in the past. Because I'm foolish. I mean, the House Labs blushes, don't even talk to me about those, but they are gorgeous. But I was really angry the last time I bought them because they had like halved in size and they were still the same price. I was livid. And you know what? I have so many blushes. I have so many blushes. There is no way that I'm ever going to hit pan. So I don't need to spend $35 on that. But for a talc-free one, the fact that it's saying that there's a little bit of shimmer, I'm like, okay, so what sort of a talc-free formula did you go for? Because if you go for talc-free, there's cheaper alternatives that you can use that are talc-free, but they tend to give more of a shimmer. That's why, you know, the Givenchy powder that was reformulated ended up being like really, really shiny because they used a talc-free alternative that was cheaper, but gives you a shimmery shiny. So I'm just wondering what the story is there. Like that, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just something to consider of like how much of a profit. Every brand has to make a profit. We're not saying that they should run at a loss. I like knowing these sort of things. Then in terms of the bronzers, it's basically the same sort of thing. They're saying there's hyaluronic acid, niacinamide, same sort of thing. They're saying there's a lightweight, finely milled formula with a silky soft texture. But there's 4 shades. There's light, medium, tan, and deep. And I will say, looking at these, I'm not sure. I'm not so sure about this. Yes, I feel like light would work for me, but deep is not deep enough, in my opinion. I feel like there needs to be an extra maybe 2 shades in here. Like the tan and the medium are way too close to each other. There feels like a bit of a gap here, in my opinion. And I will say, the consumer is learning an awful lot more about this sort of stuff than we did years ago. And people are not taking this lightly. We have a lot more brands that we can get some good diversity from. So I don't understand. And again, there's no swatches. There's no swatches. Like maybe it is like really, really, really deep. But based upon this pan, which randomly has purple, like lilac in it, I don't know. I personally wouldn't spend $35 on this. Not that there's anything wrong with it, simply because I have enough stuff in my collection. I have enough bronzers in my collection. But yeah, it just seems really strange. And as I'm filming, like I said, it's the 21st of November, so it's the day before they're launching, and I couldn't find any videos of anyone like wearing it or showcasing it. Maybe there has been since, or maybe I managed to skip them. To be fair, I'm a bit all over the place, so maybe there was one. There might have been another blush. I don't even know, but I couldn't find anything that was like super specific. I'm making excuses for myself. Yeah. Anyways, it's grand. I've seen a few things from the brand. I remember there was like this dragon themed eyeshadow that I was like, ooh, that's quite interesting, but I've never bought anything from them. Yeah, it's relatively interesting, the fact that it's made in Italy. You would assume it's going to be pretty good quality, but best not to make assumptions. Currently not going to buy it. I'll be interested to see what people think. I'll be interested to look at reviews because I'm nosy, but yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. Then we have Wayne Goss, who's coming out with this 4-piece holiday brush collection, and it's available right now for $85. And you're probably thinking, $85 for 4 brushes from Wayne Goss? That's not very expensive. Normally one of his brushes is $85. Yes, that's because normally they're like goat hairs and whatever. This is synthetic, right? So this is synthetic bristles. This is why this is a little bit cheaper. So basically it's a limited edition collection. You have 4 brushes. There's the all-round brush, which buffs in liquid cream powder and mineral foundations to a poreless finish, creating a smooth canvas. There's the buffing brush, which is designed to precisely buff in bronzers and blushes for a seamless blending. The medium tapered brush, which blends any formula with ease, creating effortlessly diffused edges. And the small taper brush, which accentuates smaller areas with precise application, making it ideal for highlighter. Yeah, I mean, that's quite interesting to me. I think this is quite smart. It's a special edition one, and it's put together in a specifically designed gift box. It looks nice, $85. It is still on the pricier end when it comes to things like synthetic brushes. I have one Wayne Goss brush, and it's a foundation brush, and it was one of the crazy expensive ones, but I do actually quite enjoy it. Do I love it so much that I would go off and buy like a bunch of other brushes? I don't know. I actually think like between my My Kit Co and my Sigma brushes, I'm actually quite happy with those. And maybe I should just stick with what I know rather than wandering off into uncharted territory, gaining expensive tastes for myself. Like, do I need to get like an expensive brush habit? Like, that just seems a bit unnecessary for me. However, like, Wayne he's a makeup artist. He knows what he's talking about, and these do look really pretty. Obviously, a lot of people are thinking about like shopping for Christmas at this time, and what a beautiful gift that would actually be. The handles look kind of small or short. Maybe that's kind of perfect for that. I like kind of a long handle. That's just for me. But I mean, yeah, it's grand. $85. It is expensive. It is what it is. But you know what? I'm willing to invest in good makeup tools. I've kind of gotten to that point in my life. When you think about it, you could spend like $85 on like 20 brushes and they could all be shit, and you end up throwing them out after a year, versus $85 for 4 brushes that you could use until the end of time, which is a better investment. It's one of those things of like quantity over quality. Now, I'm not saying that you can't get amazing quality for cheaper prices. You absolutely can, but like, you just have to be clever and really do your research on these things. It's interesting. Yeah, I personally am going to get these. I don't need them. I have a whole bunch of brushes right here in front of me, and they're judging me as it is right now. So it's grand, I don't need it, but I think it's very, very mindful for this time of the year. This was announced yesterday, and I feel like nobody ended up talking about it, which in and of itself is kind of interesting and shows how much this brand has kind of fallen off. This is Lunar Beauty. If you don't know Lunar Beauty, the brand owned by Manny MUA. So this is the day and night collection. He said that it was launching on TikTok Shop on the 21st of November, so today as I'm filming, but that it would be available the next day on Lunar Beauty. So what I have right now is just a bunch of screen grabs, etc. I couldn't find any swatches because he didn't have any swatches. It is what it is. Basically, it's a small enough collection. There's the day and night palette for $49, the day and night lash set for $18, and there's the day and night lip oils in the shades Choose Me and Bite Me. Both are raspberry scented and they're $18 each, or you could bundle the whole lot together for $8 to $7. Hopefully I've gotten better pictures in the meantime, because I was just basically going on his video. His video, by the time that I was looking at it today, only had about 41,000 views, and I was like, that's interesting. You know, do you remember when his stuff used to be like all over Beauty Bay, and it isn't even stocked on Beauty Bay anymore? What a downfall. Like, it's really kind of gone down quite a bit. So there's a few things in this collection, definitely a little bit more subdued than his previous collections. We'll talk about the day and night palette. What he's basically done is you can't buy these separately. These are together, but they're singular palettes, but they're magnetic. And he's basically saying, this is your day palette and this is your night palette. And I'm like, okay, Yeah, it's boring if I'm 100% honest. And I feel like any of his neutral palettes that you have seen before, like there's several of them that I'm thinking of, but my brain can't think of the words for them. And it feels like he could probably make shades out of this. And I'm gonna sound a little bit mean, I'm so sorry. But you know that £9 palette there of the day, which I'm showing you right now, or at least I might be. Who knows what I'm doing? If you told me that was Colourpop, I'd be like, yeah, fair enough. Oh, it does. And then the Night palette, again, looks very Colourpop. That's $49. Yeah, you're getting 18 shades, but like, I don't know. I remember when Lunar Beauty was really, really interesting. Do you remember there was it Spellbound palette? The first one. The second one was not great, but the first one, how amazing and well thought out that was. Their Strawberry Dream palette, amazing. It just feels very clutching at straws. And I get that there's this weird, not weird, but there's this kind of trend at the moment towards like the no makeup look, because apparently eyeshadow is for old people and whatever. And I'm like, look, just you learn how to use eyeshadow. Once you learn how to use eyeshadow, you'll love it, you silly goose. It's so safe. Oh, it's so dull. And the thing is, I quite like neutral shadows. I know, I didn't think I'd say that, but I've been seeing the beauty in them. I blame Daniela. She's a fucking terrible influence. But looking at this, it does feel Colourpop. I'm sorry, it really does. And I'll go to Colourpop rather than getting this. Not interesting. The lashes, he then said they were stackable for $18. And all I could think of was the lashes from the Divination collection between Robert Welsh and Blend Bunny. And they were, I believe, $12 and also stackable. And he, by the way, in Manny's video, he was wearing them and he did say that they were stacked and they did look really pretty on them. They did. They looked gorgeous on him. But I don't know if I would pay $18 for 2 sets of lashes. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're fine, they're grand, nothing interesting. And then lip oils. $18 for lip oils. I mean, yeah, they're all right. And I used to really like his lip glosses. I just haven't bought anything from Lunar Beauty in quite some time. They're raspberry scented, like I said. They're just very safe, you know? The shade Choose Me, he said that that's the nighttime shade. And then the shade Bite Me is the more like pink one. I don't know how to say it. It's just as boring. It's boring. It's boring. That's how to say it. I do know how to say it. The words were inside of me all along. I just find it eternally interesting how these things come in cycles. Because I remember his, was it the first blush palette that he came out with? How everyone gagged over that, myself included. Like, I'm including myself in that. I was not part of that. I was like, yay! And that was on Beauty Bay and it was really, really exciting. And loads of people were looking for his stuff. His Life's a Drag palette was a big thing. Like, he's had so many palettes and they've been really, really successful. But it's all kind of gone downhill recently. And this just feels a bit wah, wah. Like, I'm gonna forget about this in a year's time. You know, like, outside of the packaging, you know, the raised front of the moon, etc., which is obviously the whole part of the brand recognition. He does that very, very well. And he kept talking in his video about like the packaging. And I was like, yeah, but most people, my love, are going to throw away the packaging. They're going to recycle it. You don't keep the packaging. Or at least I hope you don't. Maybe you do. And which, do you know what? Not going to judge you. That's your own business. It's none of mine. But why spend so much time thinking about the packaging and not about the stuff that goes into it? Do you know? It feels strange to me, and it also shows how much of a cycle there is in terms of influencers, because Manny was on the top years ago, and the fact that his video, when I watched it today, had 41,000 views, and that had been up for I think a day or two. That's not great for him. Like, for me, if I got that, I'd be like, oh my god, I'm unbearable right now. But for a launch of his brand, you'd kind of go, you'd expect there to be more views. So not only does it show how these brands are falling off in terms of popularity, but it's also showing that there's a new cycle of influencers on their way in. And there's a few that have managed to kind of keep their claws in there, which I'd rather not talk about. But yeah, nothing interesting about this. Sorry to say it, it isn't for me. If it is for you, fantastic. I hope you get it, and if you like it, etc, etc. There you go. Then we have Lethal Cosmetics, and I showed the outside of this palette last week along with a couple of shades, and I thought that it looked a bit like the Cosmic Brushes Gothic palette. I was wrong. It doesn't when I actually look at it. This is their Spellcraft palette, but there's also lots of other things that are coming along with this launch. There's the Aura Multi-Chrome Liner, and they come in 5 shades. There's Verve, which shifts from red to pink to gold to emerald green. Hypnotic, which shifts from purple to red to orange to olive green. Synapse, which shifts from lime green, emerald green, teal, navy and blue. Transcend, which shifts from light blue to green to pink to gold. And Sublime, which shifts from light peach, pink, gold to green. And they've also essentially added in 3 new shades of their charged mascara, so their tubing mascara. They've added in Pulse, which is a navy blue, Overload, which is a deep blood red, and that's sort of like a nod to one of their more viral red tubing mascara, so that's quite smart. They said that, by the way, in their video. And there's Flux, which is a beige tubing mascara, because they were like, you can also use that on your brows and stuff to give you that bleached look, which I thought was really smart, really smart. And they're bringing back their Chimera liquid lipstick, which is a black liquid lipstick. Really interesting. It's the Abyss shade. So the palette is retailing for €49. The Aura Multi-Chrome Liners are €14 each. The 3 new charged mascaras are €14.50 each. And the Chimera lipstick in the shade Abyss is €17. And these are all coming out on November 28th. I'm going to talk about the eyeshadow palette first, because that was the one that they kind of been sneak peeking for quite some time. And I had originally thought that this was quite similar to the Cosmic Brushes Gothic palette. It isn't now that I've seen it all together. However, I feel like this looks a lot like their existing purpley toned palettes. And by they I mean Lethal Cosmetics. The packaging, absolutely 50 million out of 10. Absolutely gorgeous. The little binding, attention to detail, absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if I would necessarily spend that, however, for that palette at the moment. Not that it isn't beautiful, not that I haven't enjoyed Lethal Cosmetics before, but I feel like this is such a saturated market, and there's so many brands that do these things so well that I've now become annoyingly choosy, and seeing the swatches makes it look a little bit flat. Does that sound weird? It just looks a bit flat to me. Like I need some extra oomph in there. And again, I'm sorry, I'm going to say it, I'd go to Cosmic Brushes for the Gothic palette sooner. It's fine. The packaging though, absolutely gorgeous. And I was dying because I was watching the live, you know, when they were talking about this. And there was somebody who was actually like, do you sell the palette without the eyeshadow in it? Like it's an empty. And I was like, oh, this is awkward, but also, do you? Because that's pretty. Like I'd do that, but it's fine. It just looks a lot like stuff that they've done before, and I get it, they have their aesthetic, fair enough. The multi-chrome liners, they're quite nice. Mind you, are these new to the market? No, they're new to Cosmic, obviously. They've not done this before, and the shades themselves are fine, but I think if you are anyway into indie brands already, you'll have come across this, and you'll have gotten this from existing brands, whether it's Kaleidos, Moira Cosmetics, etc. Hell, even Colourpop have done their own sort of things on this. Are these wildly expensive? No, they're not. So like, I mean, not bad at all. Would I necessarily go out and get these right now? Probably not. The mascaras I think are kind of interesting. Like they're not wildly expensive. Yeah, I mean, I don't have much else to say about them. The liquid lipstick, I do really like their liquid lipstick. They're so comfortable, and it's hard to get a black one, so that's not a bad one at all. Overall, the collection, I don't want to be mean. I really don't want to be mean. I just haven't seen anything from Lethal Cosmetics that I've kind of gone, oh wow, yeah, that's amazing. I want that. I can see like aspects of it that I really admire, like the packaging, etc. But I'm not going to buy something for packaging. Like that's a step too far for me. They do still seem to be doing very well, and I wish them nothing but success. Anything that I've tried, I've really enjoyed from them. It's not me saying that I don't enjoy the brand. It's just that I'm becoming a lot more choosy about what I'm purchasing because I have so much. Like, it's unhealthy. I shouldn't buy anything anymore. I don't need to buy anything anymore. I just enjoy it. But this, I'm at least putting some limits on it. I feel like if they come out with the eyeliners maybe 2 years ago, it would have been better, but this feels a little bit late to the game. Then we have Wet n Wild, and this is their holiday collection, and weirdly it's over on Walmart site but not on their own. So let's have a little chat about this. There's an eye and face palette along with an eyeliner set for $9.98. There's the glitter palette and brush set for $9.98. A liquid highlighter and mini sponge set for $9.98. A lip gloss and lip liner set. Now there's two varieties. One of them is called Cookie Dreams and the other one doesn't have a name on the site. They're $9.98 each. There's the glitter mascara and lash curler set. Where are we going off to with glitter mascara these days? $9.98. And then finally there's the 5-piece makeup brush and sponge set for, no, it's not $9.98, it's $14.98. They ruined their streak. But there you go. Let's talk about the eye and face palette first. Do you know what? I actually don't hate this. Right, it's grand. It's very, very shimmer heavy, but it's not bad for the price. I wouldn't get angry about this. I mean, $10 for a little eyeshadow palette and an eyeliner in cute little packaging. It's grand. I know that people do stocking stuff. We don't do that in my house. We never really did that in our house. It was just, here are your gifts, be thankful, don't kill your brother, you know, that sort of thing. Standard childhood. But I know that some people do stocking fillers, so maybe for that. Now it's very, very shimmer intense. I think there's like, what, 2 mattes in there, and they're they're much deeper, so I don't know what you do with it, but it's grand, it's fine. And Wet n Wild, they're a bit hit or miss. They're either really great in terms of their formula for the price, or it's just like, what fresh hell is this? So I guess if you want to gamble for Christmas, like, go for it. Then there's the glitter palette that comes with like a little brush, which I don't understand why it comes with a brush, because how are you going to put on glitter with a brush like that? You need a silicone applicator. Like, I don't get it. Is this Vaseline glitter? This looks, oh, I'm not even going to say it nicely. This looks like craft glitter. That does not look eye safe. Please don't anyone put this on your eyes. Oh, this is very 1990s. Yeah. Oh, what are the words? There are no words. Yeah, no, this is terrible. And there's no swatches, by the way, of any of these things, because it's all on Walmart. And they're just like, you go and blind yourself. We're not paying a model to go off and do that. Yeah, I don't understand even just the addition of the brush there. What is the brush meant to do? It's a supporting role that it never asked for, so there you go. The highlighter, again, very, very helpfully, absolutely no swatches. That little sponge is tiny. It's so cute. Like my patience. Barely there. Again, I've absolutely no idea what it looks like. It looks like a kind of a frosty gold, so I've no idea who that would work with. Some swatches, or at least trying it on the face, would be grand, but it's inexpensive. The 2 lip kits I got a bit confused by, because on Walmart they both had the same description, even down to the liner, but they can't possibly be the same. They don't look the same. The liners do look the same, but the glosses look different, so maybe they have the same liner. I don't know what's happening. But there's one gloss that looks like it's greeny toned, which, okay, fair enough. Like, I don't really know what's happening there. I guess grinchy, unless they're trying to do like what Robert Welsh's thing with the divination collection and Blem Bunny was, of like cancelling out some of the redness to make your lip a little bit more neutral. Maybe, I don't know. It's strange. And then the other one is more just like sparkly white. It does look like it might be the same shade of lip liner. Anyways, I don't know. It's relatively inexpensive. So that's probably the one that's least likely to blind you, unless you're actually like taking the dough foot and whacking it into your eyes, in which case you are your own worst enemy. And then there's the mascara and lash curler. There we go. Words coming back to me. I've always been a bit frightened of lash curlers, simply because you could just like absolutely cut off your eyelashes. I've heard horror stories of it. Glitter mascara. Why? And why is this not the first one that I've heard of? I blame Maybelline. I blame Maybelline for a lot of things. Wet n Wild. I mean, it is wild, I guess. Yeah, absolutely not. I don't want my lashes to look like they have dandruff. I have enough issues. Then the brush and sponge set, they're fine. A contour, kind of angled brush, that's grand. It's fine. $14.98. That's not a bad price. I don't know. I'd probably prefer, personally, to spend that $15 and get one really good brush, because I don't know how these would wash, how these would wear. Are these just flung into the handles, like, or are they going to fall apart within minutes of you washing them? I don't know. All in all, there's like obviously a lot to this, and this does feel like Wet n Wild are very much kind of going, I see that you've forgotten to get things for your loved ones and it's now Christmas Eve. Come and buy things and to put into their stocking to show that you kind of know them. And your 16-year-old child is just opening their stocking kind of going, thanks for the glitter palette, I guess. I don't know what I'm meant to do with this. Like it's so craft. Like I could almost feel like looking at that was just Vaseline. And the sensory ick that I have gotten from that, I don't think I'll ever be able to recover from that. I'm going to seek damages from Wet n Wild for that. I will say the photography of the whole thing, the way they've presented it, like so well. Like 10 out of 10 for that. Really, really good. Just the products themselves, I'm a bit confused on. Which, there's many things in my life that I'm confused on. And if that just happens to be another one, well, there you go. We then have a collaboration between Viva You're Pretty and Slade Cosmetics, and it's the Goth Queen bundle. It's going to be available from November 29th. Now, it's a very nicely curated little collection. What you're getting is a 6-pan eyeshadow palette and then 2 lip products for $49.99. However, I have been told that there is a code, GOTH20, that'll get you some money off. Specifically, 20% off. Could you tell from that? Anyways, this is a collaboration, as I said, between VIVAVAMP, also known as Viva You're Pretty, and the brand Slade Cosmetics. Now, if you aren't familiar with Viva You're Pretty, they are extremely talented, very gothic sort of an aesthetic, brilliant content creator over on Instagram. And actually, one of my friends, Manuela, has actually met her in reality. She said she's very, very nice. So there you go. Do meet your heroes. Sometimes they're very, very nice. Who would have thought? Anyways, knowing her general aesthetic, this feels extremely on brand for her. Like, yes, it's a 6-pan palette. It's really, really hard to have a 6-pan palette and have it basically make sense. But looking at this and looking at her, I'm kind of going, yes, this makes sense to me. I totally get where you're going at with this. Now, when I am looking at the eyeshadow palette initially, that shade Black Lace looks quite kind of grey toned. However, if you have watched any episodes of Swatching Sundays, you probably will have noticed that it depends very much on the lighting, and if it's very, very light saturated, it can desaturate the shades. So you can actually see in the swatches that is actually quite a good black. So pretty impressive. I mean, you're talking about a 6-pan palette that also includes, by the way, a glitter in there. It's very Jessica Rabbit sort of a glitter, which is like, oh, quite sexy, quite interesting. But make sure you have a good glitter glue, my friends. And then 2 sort of lip glosses. Very, very interesting. Do you know what my initial thought was, right? Do you know how the Cosmic Brushes Sinister mystery box came out in the last week or so, and quite a few of us were receiving it, and I was personally surprised that there wasn't a black lipstick, or at least a black lip gloss in it, and a few people were kind of saying, oh, I feel a bit sad about that. This might be the one to get instead. Well, not instead, but like, if you're really, really looking for that, like, it is quite interesting. Obviously, the shade Goth, that's the black one. It's a black satiny lip gloss that adds a touch of mystery and glamour to any look. And then the shade Bitten, it's kind of a red, but there's a soft pink and apparently plenty of sparkle. And you can kind of see that in the swatch as well. Very, very pretty. It's so curated. I love that. I love that it's not like 50 million things in one. And I mean, if you're getting 20% off of $50, so you're essentially getting this whole thing for $40. Come on, 6 eyeshadows and 2 lip glosses. That's not bad at all. And by the way, there's 3 mattes. There's 1 popping white silvery shimmer, 1 gleaming red glitter, and a fantastic purple multi-chrome that has a soft black and gold shift. And you can kind of see that within the swatch there, and I actually suspect that if you put the black underneath that multi-chrome would pop out that little bit more. That's very, very interesting. Is it a super versatile palette? No, but it's 6 pans. What are you expecting? Like... You know, this is extremely authentic to Viva You're Pretty, VIVAVAMP, whatever way you want to talk about them. Absolutely makes so much sense. Is this necessarily my aesthetic? No, simply because I'm not cool enough for that. I wish I could be cool enough to get away with blacks and reds and greys, but I just keep adding extra bits on. I'm way more emo than I am gothic, and I just have to live with that aspect of myself. But I look at all the goth kids and I'm like, you're so cool, be my friend. But I think this makes so much sense for her. I love seeing content creators getting collabs, particularly when they're super, super passionate about it, and seeing that collaboration between a content creator and an indie brand with the likes of like Slade Cosmetics makes so much sense. This is where the personality of the content creator and the personality of the brand just meshes so perfectly. So like kudos. I think this will do really well, and bon chance, my friend. I hope it all goes very, very well. And it seems like that's not the only sort of like vampiric gothy sort of thing that we're coming out with, which I'm kind of enjoying this. Like, it's coming into Christmas, but people are like, no, Halloween is all year round, and that is the sort of spiel that I live for. This is Unearthly Cosmetics, and they have a very curated collection. There's just 5 items, which feels like something I can handle. There's the Just a Taste palette, which is retailing for $74. The Gory Glow Just a Taste highlighter for $28. And then there's 3 different styles of lip oils, and they're $7 each. So they come in the shades Nocturnal, which is a sheer black, Fog, a milky grey, and Inferno, which is a sheer red, and they are all available right now. And I did look at their website. There doesn't seem to be any sort of a bundling option at the moment, which I think is a bit sad. I'm going to talk about the eyeshadow palette first. So there's 18 shades in this, and they say that it's in a variety of mattes, shimmers, and multi-dimensional shifts. Each colour tells a story of dark romance and eternal sophistication, from the muted plums and sultry reds to glistening golds and mysterious greens. This palette embodies the haunting beauty and captivating decadence of the immortal realm. And can I just say, I love this colour story. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. The aesthetic of this, fabulous. Even the outside packaging, gorgeous. And I haven't bought anything from Unearthly Cosmetics in a hot minute, and I would have probably gotten this if it wasn't for my friend Sue, who pointed out that this bears a striking similarity, not like a dupe by any means, but there's a slight overlap between this and the Kaima Cosmetics Skulls palette, and I have that. It's not currently in my possession, it's with a friend of mine at the moment, but I was like, okay, I have that. I don't need to go off and buy this, but my goodness, does this look really, really pretty. I love that there's enough here that you can get some sort of like neutrally looks here. I always love mixing purples and greens. That little pop of red, really, really gorgeous. The swatches look really, really nice, very, very vibrant. Even that yellow is looking good, because yellow is hard to get right. Normally you have to put like a little bit of a shimmer in it to kind of get it to be the shade that you would necessarily want. This is very, very pretty. It is in my mind a little pricey, $74, but I mean, it's what, 18 pounds, so about $4 per shade, so probably not actually that expensive. It's just hearing $74, but at the same time, Teresa, you're an idiot, because you went off and spent, that's right, €42 on a duo shadow. So you can't be calling things expensive. You're an idiot. So get down off of your high horse, you silly goose. I like the colour story of this. I absolutely do. I think it's really, really pretty. I believe they're stocked at, oh my god, why can I not think of the name? Monolith. There we go. God, the tonsillitis has gone to my brain. So if you're looking at that, you could potentially get it there. I really like the colour story of this. I love that it's not gone into like super Christmassy colours here, but there is some Christmassy colours. I like that. Let's talk about the highlighter next. Right, normally I get a bit whatever when I see marbledy shades. However, this one makes so much sense considering it's meant to be like vampiric and these are like spatters of blood. Well done. $28. That's not bad either. So it says, this captivating shade features a pink-white base with a flowery shift enhanced by a striking red overspray. So it's just an overspray that mimics blood spatter. So I guess like if you shove your finger in and blend it for a while, it'll go. Blend it for a bold pink shine, or mix in more of the red for a stunning blush topper effect. Whether you want a subtle glow or a dramatic flush, Gory Glow transforms to suit your darkest desires. But here's my thing though, if it's an overspray, you can't really mix the red in for that long. That'll only last for a couple of uses, and then it's just what is under that. So maybe don't market it in that way would be my major thing. If it wasn't an overspray, then I'd be like, yeah, fair enough, but you've said it's an overspray. I don't love it when brands do oversprays like that. Like, it looks so, so pretty, and even the swatch looks very, very nice. I get what they're saying about using it potentially as like this sort of a blush lighter, for want of a better word. Damn you, Melt, you've ruined my brain. I just think of blush lighter. It looks very, very nice, but if they're saying that that red is an overspray, is it always going to be that shade? What shade is it going to be otherwise? That's my major thing on that, which I feel like that is a valid concern. Then the lip oils, I mean, $7 each. That is cheap as chips. I'm not going to give out about that. I think the shades are actually quite nice. I did struggle to try to figure out which was which. So I did a little bit of guesstimating as to which one was Nocturnal, which one was Fog. I mean, Inferno was easy to figure out. That was the red one. So, you know, they do look nice. I mean, they're lip oils. They're not changing the world there. I probably wouldn't go out and get them. They're fine. The collection overall, I actually think is quite nice. However, I haven't bought anything from Unearthly Cosmetics in quite some time. Not for any particular reason. It's just nothing has kind of pulled me in. And I don't think that this collection will get me either. Not because it isn't beautiful, but because I have a crazy amount of things in my collection, and thankfully I have people in my life that point things out to me and go, you know that you have stuff like this already, you silly goose. Save your money and put it towards other things that you need, like your PSI membership, because you have 2 other jobs, you absolute fool. But yeah, it's grand, and I kind of like seeing something that isn't like overtly Christmassy at this time. I've said it before, I'll say it again, it'll be part of my dying words. I'm not really a Christmas person. It's sort of sensory overload to me. It's just not really my jam. So seeing somebody go at a holiday collection in a slightly more gothic-y sort of a vibe, I kind of enjoy that. I think that's really interesting. But I like seeing people take these sort of marketing ideas or these launches that are very quarterly or whatever, and just running with them in whatever way they feel is interesting, rather than this is what we think the market wants. I appreciate that they're kind of going along with their desires. Why not? I feel like that's much more authentic and you get a lot more for that reason. Now we're on to essentially sneak peeks. This is from Dede Signature, and it looks like this is essentially their holiday palette. This is the Fearless Holiday Eyeshadow Palette. As I'm showing you this, they have shown 3 rows. They have been showing it row by row and driving me absolutely bananas in doing so. I'm like, could you just show us what the story is? This is a 20 pan, all magnetic holiday eyeshadow palette with this sort of a colour story. I don't know what the last row is going to be, but I have to say, I think it's actually really pretty. This is part of what's been driving me nuts, because I actually think it's very, very nice. It's going to be available November 23rd to 24th for $44.99. The lovely Jamie, who is Makeup on Your Radar, they did a collaboration with them before. They have a code RADAR10, which will get you money off. So you get like what, $4.49 off. So it'll be $40.50, which isn't bad at all. And I did like their formula from playing with it. Ooh, I'm interested in this. I want to see some swatches. And actually, more than that, I want to see what the final row is. But this is looking really, really pretty. Really, really pretty. Yeah, this is definitely an interest to me. We might discuss this a little bit more next week, but for sure interesting. And we're closing off on this one, Cosmic Brushes. You saucy little minx. This is their 'Tis the Season collection. It's a brand new collection which contains 5 new products available as part of their Black Friday deal for £45 for the whole collection, or available individually with a value of £72. But code FESTIVE will allow 15% off each individual product. Excuse me? So this is coming out the 29th of November at 6 PM UK time. It's a limited edition release. Reveal photos and swatches are apparently coming soon. So based upon what we're seeing here, let's have a little gawk. It does look like we're getting the lipstick, and now I know what their formula of their lipstick is from their Sinister collection, and I like that. It does look like maybe are we getting another cream blush? Interesting. Interesting. What the hell is that over there? Is that blush butter? Yeah, another blush butter. So unless that's the packaging is the same. Okay, sorry. That's the outside, the carton packaging, and then that's the component. Okay, calm down. So are there 2 blush butters? What is going on? So one is definitely called Nutmeg. We can see that much. The other one, can't see what the story is there. Thanks, photo. Ooh, I'm interested, but obviously it's the palette that's got me. I'll be getting that. It's a 20 colour palette. We already know. I'm buying this. They're one of the few brands that I will buy sight unseen. Just take my card details. They know them already, frankly. So yeah, I will be getting this. I'll see a couple of you at checkout, essentially. Well, you know who you are. You're the same as me. Don't pretend that you're any different. You're not better than me. Yeah, I have a lot of feelings on this. Oh, actually, will say, obviously, my gorgeous friend Tia, she has a code, Tia10, that'll get you money off. I'm assuming it might work on this or on some of the individual items, but you can obviously use a different code for that. But I feel the need to talk about my friend Tia because I wouldn't know about this brand if it wasn't for her. She's amazing, Tia. Love you. Kisses. But yeah, I'm excited about this. But my gorgeous friends, that is it. That's the end of the video. However, I have the longest comment, but I'm going to flash it on the screen. I don't think I can read it out simply because I've been talking for 5 million hours. Like, this is a very, very long episode. But part of why I wanted to show this is from the lovely Wilma Fingerdo. Is A, I agreed with it, and I feel like it summed up a lot of what we were talking about last episode, but also quite a few of you liked it as well. And I feel, again, like Wilma just captured how a lot of us are feeling. Even her saying, oh, what the heck do peanuts have to do with makeup? Their characters are all about 9 years old. They don't wear makeup. Even the colours used in the cartoon are flat and perfunctory. I felt this way with Garfield. And it's kind of that idea of these makeup collaborations just come out of nowhere and are very much, they're cash grabs. We all know collabs are cash grabs, but some feel more like cash grabs than others and don't feel extremely authentic. And I totally get that. And she goes on to say about, you know, taking advantage of people's FOMO. And I've seen that becoming more and more of a marketing technique. Over the last few years, there was a point where it was really prevalent, maybe 4 years ago, and then it kind of died down, and then it's kind of coming back up again. This is what we see every so often. There's like these waves of things. Yeah, and even just the whole idea of, I miss the days when we were given time to enjoy our palettes over multiple uses. You don't even see these influencers using products beyond the launches, and then they rarely bring them up again except to compare the latest offerings or to declutter them in one of their epic declutter videos. And I agree, and I see this myself. I have stuff here, and I know I have way too much. I know this. I'll be the first to admit it. I have so much stuff here that I haven't even like properly played with. And I'm reluctant to give reviews on stuff that I've only like done a quick tutorial on, because I don't want to tell somebody to go off and buy an eyeshadow palette because of my review when I've only used maybe a quarter of the palette. And it could have been that that just happened to be the quarter of the palette that performs really, really well, and the other 3/4 are trash. I feel very strongly about these things, but I had to show Wilma's comment because I feel like she just gazed into my soul. Maybe she gazed into yours, I don't know, but I felt very seen in this comment, and I was like, yes. But even quite a few of you replied underneath, and I was like, yeah, okay, we've found our space, and I very much appreciate it. But my gorgeous friends, that is it. It's such a long episode. We are getting into the holiday season, so probably for this next month we're going to see slightly longer episodes. I'm so sorry. I'm also sorry for editing me. Life is hard. Anyways, my gorgeous friends, thank you so much for hanging out, for joining me, for adding into the conversation, for bringing in those comments. You have no idea how much I appreciate it. How much I appreciate it when you guys message me and say, oh, you know, do you want to include this? I don't think you get just how much it means to me. This is all about like community building. Like it's a big thing for me. I so appreciate it. I appreciate you. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. But you know, that is essentially the end of the video. Do please like, comment and subscribe. Turn on that notification bell because that is essentially the thing that I say these days. And do please share, because sharing is caring, except of course for STDs, in which case just wrap it up. Don't be gross. But that's it. That's the end of the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.